All right, folks, our review of the Daniel Defense Daniel H9 is coming up, and you may want to strap in for this one. We're going to jump into this review right away. Before we do, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let YouTube know that you support our channel. In exchange, we'll provide you with the cringiest of gun memes. All right, so what is the Daniel H9? This is a striker fired pistol. It's 15+1 capacity. It's based on the Hudson H9. Though Daniel Defense is quick to point out that they changed just about everything except for one original part. Now, this gun has been through some history with us. We've had a number of iterations. In fact, this is the 4th time we've brought this out. The original was sent back before we could ever get it out to the range. Apparently there was some issue with that one. Then we got one to replace that one, took it out and had some problems. You can just barely make out the back there. It's not quite flush. And if I press the trigger, I got nothing. We sent that one back. They sent us another one. We had some trigger issues with that one. God damn, look at that. I'm all the way up. Sent that one back, repaired it, and then this is the one that we're finally out with. So the 4th time we've come out to the range, and we've got quite a bit to say about the Daniel H9. Let's talk about the ergonomics of the Daniel H9. Now, it's got a kind of 1911-esque grip. The angle and the features. You've got a nice beaver tail that's not a grip safety, so I appreciate that. But the beaver tail extends out and does a really good job, even with my big hands, of covering the webbing of my hand. On the back strap, some pretty good serrations right here. And then G10 panels on the grip, like actual slabs like you find in a 1911 as well. You'll notice that they're hollowed out just a little bit here to make room for the magazine release, and they do a good job of that. Then finally on the front strap, you've got some matching serrations too. So I like the overall thin nature of the grip. It very much reminds me of a 1911, and I believe that magazine release is reversible. In addition, you've got the slide stop and release, pretty easy to get to. And then when we get to the trigger, it's kind of interesting because you've got a trigger safety device right here that compresses back before the trigger is allowed to move. And it's hinged from the bottom. Unlike most guns out there, it's hinged from the bottom. So that means that the top portion has to go back before the whole trigger will come forward. Good undercut here on the trigger guard, which is all part of the body, of course, and this is not polymer. And then finally moving forward to a full rail up front for accessories, serrations on the slide front and rear, and a fiber optic front and a steel blacked out rear. And then along the top, you've also got anti-glare serrations running all the way down. Overall, good package. And if you look at the very front, one of the claims of the original H9, and still holds true to the Daniel H9, is the low bore axis. The amount of material just over the barrel in conjunction with the weighting of the gun does make it a pretty flat shooter. All right, so it's kind of soupy out here today. I'm hoping my glasses don't fog up too much, but we're going to do accuracy. Now we're shooting 10-shot groups from the 7-yard line. I've got a blank target up there, backer actually. I'm just going to shoot, find a spot and see what our accuracy can hold out to be. The first group is going to be AAC 115 grain. All right. Now we'll switch over to 124 grain Nosler defensive ammo and try a second group. Yeah. All right, let's go check those out. So the AAC, pretty good. I was able to put several through the same hole. And using the RMR from Trigicon, you know, it's a great dot. I'm able to basically just put the dot on my first hole and try to hold here. I got to admit that when it's hot and sweaty out like it is, it's difficult for my support hand to get traction over my gun hand. And that's part of the reason why I'm having to adjust my grip. With the defensive ammo from Nosler, you can see that still about the same size. I did throw that one, that was on me, just a little anticipation, but all within like 1.5 inches of each other, maybe 2 inches up here. Pretty good accuracy from 7 yards. Special thanks to Palmetto State Armory for their AAC ammo. We shoot this stuff regularly and couldn't do it without their support. AAC ammo is reliable, accurate, and pretty affordable too. All right, so let's try out 50 yards and just see how the Daniel H9 does. Or more importantly, how I do. There we go. Oh, hey, I wrote an article on this review. You can head over and find it at pewpewtactical.com. Click on the link in the description below for even more details on the Daniel H9. All right, so let's actually demo the trigger here so you can get an idea of how it's going to perform. This triggered safety device compresses pretty easily. And again, it hinges from the bottom, which is a little bit different. But you have a fair bit of stacking. So I'll go ahead and start applying pressure now. And then it breaks. And then reset. It's barely audible and barely tactile. It's very soft. Let's demo it one more time. A little bit of movement. And then it breaks. And reset. Right there. Yeah, there's more of a kind of a tinny click with it and really not much of a sensation, so it's barely tactile at all, but you can hear it just a little bit. And an ever-expanding experiment, let's see, no, and an ever-expanding effort to provide you with even more information, we're now implementing the Lyman digital trigger gauge. Now, this is what I use on every review we do. We just haven't been showing it in the video, but we're going to do that now. So let's get an average here and see what kind of trigger pulls we're getting. Average is 3 pounds, 11.8 ounces. All right, y'all, one more time. Texas is scary. There's giant man-trapper spiders out here. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Let YouTube know they need to look for us if we don't come back by a certain time. Oh man, final thoughts on the Daniel H9. Now, this is a cool pistol, but it has had several failings since we started testing it. One of the biggest ones is a failure to go back into the battery. This one is doing much better, but even though this is the 4th time testing, or the 4th gun we've tested, this is still had one instance where it hung up just about like that, no more. So right there, and I couldn't get the trigger to fire as a result because it was just a little bit out of battery. It has gotten better. The first gun that we tested was probably every several rounds we were having an out of battery issue. You can just barely make out the back there. It's not quite flush. And if I press the trigger, I got nothing. But a little smack, and we're back in. The other problem that the Daniel H9 has is some issues with the trigger. Now, this was the last gun. This gun, when we first started testing it, we didn't have the out of battery issues, but the trigger would kind of hang up. And it was weird because depending on where your finger was placed on the trigger, if it was down low, you couldn't get the trigger to fire. Now, this one is doing much better. You'd have to have your finger all the way up here to get that safety device depressed to where it would then fire. Now again, like I said, this one is doing much better. When we sent it off, the repair technician looked at it and said that there was some buildup of some copper and fouling down in the actual trigger housing, so that might have contributed to the problems. When you think about the name Daniel Defense, for me, for a lot of us here at PP Tactical, it really represents a high quality product. We love their rifles. We've had the Delta 5 and of course every one or version of their AR-15s, and they've all been great. This one I feel like has some issues that make it fall a little bit short of the mark for the name, and when you consider the price is around $1,200, that's kind of a tough hill to climb. When you look at the things that it does well, it shoots fast. I mean, you can really provide some pretty accurate fire quickly with the ergonomics as good as they are, and with the accuracy overall. Just the flat shooting nature of the low bore axis helps it perform pretty well. Where it struggles is, I think, once you get past a certain dryness, like if you run it for a few thousand rounds, which granted a lot of guns do that, it will start having that issue where it won't go back into battery. And the trigger has been improved since the last one. So I'm well aware of the fact, at least, that with our experience, we sent the gun back in, they warrantied and repaired it and got it right back out to us. So good on Daniel for keeping up on their end of providing a quality customer service experience, even if the gun falls a little bit short of the mark. So that's going to do it for us. We appreciate you watching. Please stay tuned for the next one.